Shalom, our dear friends, and welcome to the beginning of the new year, the Parasha Bereshit. I hope you had great holidays and you are ready for the most amazing year ever. And I think it will be possible if we get the message of this week Parasha, the first book of Torah, which is the greatest message ever. So let's get to that. And I'm trying to be very brief to stay in 10 minutes, but it's going to be very difficult. Let's try it. Have you ever had a bad day? I'm talking about a really bad day. Let's just start with God. Imagine that you were God and you go through this amazing creation of the cosmos and the universe. And within this creation, you tell the moon and sun, I want two of you to be two great sons. And then immediately Torah says, and there was great sun, which is the sun, and the moon, which was not so great, and it gets its light from sun. So what went wrong? Then we read that it says, God said, let there be trees, that all trees are fruit trees, and not only their fruit trees, their leaves, their barks, their branches, and the fruit, they all are fruits. And then we see that only some of the trees give fruits, and even those that they give fruits, is not that their branches, their bark, their leaves, then they're not the fruit, they don't taste like the fruit. So what went wrong? And then imagine that you're God and you make this most fascinating garden beyond anybody's imagination, and you put Adam and Chava here and you say, enjoy, and all I ask you is just one thing. Don't eat from the one tree, and you could have everything else you want. And then Adam and Chava, they just want to have that fruit that they were not supposed to have. And by the way, that fruit was only limited for the first day of their creation. The next day, they could have had that. But they could not even wait for that. And they messed things up. Now, let's look at from another angle. Imagine two of the richest people, a couple. They have the most beautiful mansion. Every bill that they want is taken care of. There's no mortgage. Everything they want in the most beautiful way is provided for them. And then suddenly, they kicked out of the mansion, and now they have to go create their own house, starting totally from zero, completely broke, and now they have to get to work. And then this couple, one day they have two sons, and they see one day one of the sons come back home without the other one, and they say, where is your brother? They say, oh, mom, dad, I just want to tell you something. Yeah, what is it? I killed him. I killed my other brother. That's the story of Adam and Chava. So what's going on? How could things go so wrong so quickly? And what is the message can tremendously uplift our lives. You know, when I was in college, I realized that there is such a thing called old test. Old test is that a lot of professors, they would not go create another set of tests. They would give the test of the previous semesters. And so if you had those tests, then you know exactly what the tests are and what the answers are going to be. So the Persian people find this out. And the next thing you know, all Persian students looking for old tests. And, you know, one time I was wondering, wow, how is it that American students are not looking for the old tests, but the Persian students do? And I realized a great difference between us and them. They have come to school to learn, and we have come to school to beat the system. And we want to see how we can get smarter than the system and beat the system. Then later on, I realized, wow, what a great way. If you can come to learn and also have the ability to beat the system and come up with a much, much greater system than before. And by the way, this is the secret of so many successes in the Persian communities, that Baruch Hashem, most people have done very well. So now with this idea in mind, let's go back and go to the old texts, because we went through the entire year of Torah, and especially the holidays that we had to complete the year. So from that, let's see what lessons we can learn to bring and answer our questions that we asked. So we had two holidays which ended all the holidays of the 8 days and holiday of Sukkot. So what did we learn about in holiday of Sukkot? It says Zaman Simchatenu is a time of our joy and pleasure. So great. How do we increase our joy and our pleasure, and what is it that puts us in a mood of great pleasure? And you know that each holiday has a book associated with that to create the mood for the holiday. So I would have thought that we're going to pick a book from Torah which talks about all beauty, love, happiness. But what is the book that we read in Sukkah? Kohelet of all the books, because it seems like on the surface is a very, very pessimistic book. It's a story of King Solomon, and interestingly, the book even does not say that it's King Solomon. He says the king, and he refers to the son of David, and it says other references that you think is talking about King Solomon, but it doesn't even say that, which is very interesting why Torah puts that, because it wants to say it's not the name of a person, it's for all of you. Every single, not only Jews, every single human being has this challenge. And what is the challenge that this book says? King Solomon says that I wanted to overcome my mortality. So I went and I created enormous wisdom. And I said, I'm going to have most beautiful palaces. And I'm going to be the richest man on the planet. And I will have so many women. And I will have this and I will have that. And then 38 times, unbelievable, 38 times in this book says, Hevel Hevalim. And I realized that everything is Hevel Hevalim. So what is Hevel Hevalim? It's translated as vanity, as air just passed. It was not real. But is it really the true translation of that? So with that, let's come back and to this week Parasha. In this week Parasha, you see an amazing fascination that I just learned of. Adam and Chava are called Hevel and Cain. Cain, called from word kinyan, means to acquire, to have. And Hevel is the air, means air. Wow, what a great way that we finish the year with Hevel Hevalim, with the air. Everything is air. And now Torah comes. And the first kids are born. Their name is Cain and Hevel. What is Torah saying is fascinating. Please listen carefully. It says every one of us has a problem that we're all going to die. So what do we do with that? Many of us go to acquire this and acquire that and acquire power, wealth, wisdom,